Hello, I'm Rebecca Sherwin, and in today's video I will be creating a hatbox arrangement inspired by the British floral designer Philippa Craddock. Philippa is a self-taught florist who's been established since 2009. She works with the most regal and prestigious clients, creating stunningly beautiful installations for private events and commissions. She likes to focus on seasonality, often buying her produce from local growers, or if working internationally, she likes to purchase her produce from fair trade farms that work with their own environmental standards. Sustainability is also an integral part of Philippa's brand, avoiding to use floral foam where possible. Her products are wrapped with materials that have recyclable elements in them also. Some of her designs feature a classic white and green colour palette, so I've decided to choose that to make this hatbox arrangement today. As it's coming up to spring, I've used a couple of flowers that are seasonal in late spring, however not from a local grower. Instead, I've just gone to my local wholesalers and picked out a lovely range of whites and greens with a hint of light pink in there, just to add a bit of colour in there. So now I'll go through the flowers that I'll be using today. So today I will be using some ranunculus, which are my absolute favourite. They're a gorgeous delicate flower. They can go quite droopy, so if they are quite droopy, support wiring would be needed. They're absolutely beautiful. They're like little tissue papers. They're so delicate and they look absolutely gorgeous, and they are seasonal to late spring in the UK. I'll be also using a white spray rosa. Lovely and delicate looking, very classy and opulent, which again, Philippa describes her own style as imitable, so I thought that's why I'd stick to the white and greens, because I always think it looks very classy and luxurious. So just show you the white spray roses. Again, you can get quite a lot out of these as well because the sprays. If you're working in small designs, you can cut off all individual heads and use them, or even wire them in bundles. So they're a very versatile flower. I'll also be using a lovely white freesia, which again makes me wish I had smell-o-vision because it's absolutely stunningly scented. Again, another very delicate flower, looks very classy as well. Just got to be careful as the stems can snap quite easily and they can get quite tangled if you've got a few in a bucket. So if you just treat them with care, they'll do you wonders. I'm also using a eustoma in a very pale pink, just to add a bit of colour in there, but not with it being too overbearing. Again, a very gentle and delicate looking flower, and because eustoma come with a few flowers per stem, it makes it brilliant to work with, and you can get quite a lot out of one stem. As you can see here, you could cut there and here. Could have 3 or 4 separate stems, so they're a very good plant cut flower to use. I'll also be using some brunia, brilliant foliage to get texture in. It looks quite wreath-like, and they have got quite thick stems though. They're quite heavy, but brilliant texture. So there with my greens and the whites, I think it'll look really beautiful. In Philippa's own work, she does use a variety of different flowers and foliage to create visual and actual textures in her design, as well as contrast. I'll also be using some Pittosporum, just because of the variegated leaf colour. I think it'll look really beautiful with whites and the greens, and it has got a little bit of white touches on it, so it should harmonise the whole arrangement all together and make it look like one unified piece at the end. Also, I'll be using some eucalyptus, highly on trend at the moment. Philippa does use eucalyptus quite a lot in her work, and again, it's got a gorgeous scent to it, and the kind of blue colour of it, I think again it'll add quite a lot of visual texture and contrast to the design. You can get quite a lot of one stem. Because I'm only going to be doing a hat box arrangement, I will cut it down and probably get 2 or 3 out of that one singular stem. So it is a really good way to, it is a really good foliage to use in many different designs. Finally, I have some wax flower here, which I'll use at the end just to fill out any gaps or anywhere that needs a bit more of something. It has a gorgeous like lemon smell to it, especially when you're working with it, and again, because of how many different little flower heads you get on one stem, very versatile, and you can get quite a lot out of it and use it in a wide variety of designs. I'm using a hat box which I got from my local wholesalers, but if you're not in the trade you can get one online or any craft shop. Just make sure there's a vessel in it. I'm manipulating the chicken wire, making sure there are no sharp edges and creating a slight well in the bottom so the stems have enough room. I then fill it up with water and flower food before securing with pot tape. This is a sustainable alternative to floral foam. I'm creating this hat box arrangement 2/3 plant material, 1/3 container, so it's vital to get your shape and your lines with your foliage. I'm using eucalyptus and Pittosporum to create my height and my width and to cover all mechanics, ready for putting the flowers in on the next stage. Now I'm adding the flowers. It's important to have freshly cut stems at an angle and always in between nodes, if any. I'm firstly placing a big focal ranunculus at the top, then 3 ranunculus in the shape of a triangle on the edge of the design. In between the 3 ranunculus, I'm placing 3 eustoma in groupings, and so on throughout the whole arrangement, using all the lovely materials next to one another. Harmony and rhythm are created in various ways. The matching tints, shades, hues and tones of the plant materials and container really make your eye flow through this design, as well as all the contrasting textures in between the focal elements of the design, achieving visual interest. It's important to cover your mechanics and add any finishing touches. I'm using the foliage to cover the tape before adding a satin ribbon. You can have the lid placed on top using wire or plant material, but I'm deciding to keep it on the bottom. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, watching me create a hat box inspired by Philippa Craddock. I really would appreciate if you were to comment below, or any thoughts, anything I could do better, or even any pictures if you've had a go at home. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.